First Contact and Betrayal Commander Sarah Hayes stood on the observation deck of the ESV Pathfinder, watching as the massive Vex diplomatic vessel approached. The stars beyond the reinforced viewport seemed to bend around the alien ship's sleek, obsidian hull, a visual distortion from its gravity manipulation systems. "Nervous, Commander?" asked Lieutenant Wei Chen as he joined her at the viewport. His uniform was impeccably pressed, but the dark circles under his eyes betrayed the sleepless nights everyone had experienced since first contact. "Not nervous," Sarah replied. "Cautious. There's a difference." The truth was, Sarah felt the weight of 12 billion humans on her shoulders. The Vex had answered humanity's deep space transmissions just 6 months ago. Their technology was clearly centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. Faster than light travel, energy shields that could withstand nuclear detonations, and medical advances that could extend lifespans threefold. Yet they had come offering friendship and knowledge. The Vex vessel docked with a precision that seemed impossible for something so enormous. Sarah straightened her uniform and touched the small holographic pendant at her neck. Her daughter Eliza, back on the Mars colony. If this mission succeeded, Eliza would grow up in a galaxy full of wonders instead of confined to a single solar system. "It's time," said Admiral Costa, Sarah's superior and Earth's appointed diplomatic lead. "The delegation is ready in the conference chamber." Sarah nodded and followed Costa through the corridors of the Pathfinder. Crew members stopped to salute. As they passed, everyone understood the historic significance of today. The conference chamber had been specially prepared for this moment. A large circular table dominated the center, with the flags of Earth's unified nations along one wall and holographic displays showing views of Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies on another. "Remember," Costa said quietly as the airlock began, "to cycle, no sudden movements. Follow diplomatic protocol exactly as we practiced." The door slid open with a soft hiss. The Vex entered in perfect formation. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, with slender bodies covered in what appeared to be living metal that shifted colors slightly as they moved. Their heads featured no visible ears, only sensory nodes, and their 4 eyes, too large, too small, blinked independently of each other. Most striking were their hands, 7-fingered and capable of movements that seemed to defy the laws of physics as humans understood them. The lead Vex stepped forward. "Greetings, Admiral Janos Costa and Commander Sarah Hayes of Earth," it said in perfect English, its voice melodic yet somehow hollow. "I am Prime Emissary Zalvex of the Vex Confluence. We come with open minds and peaceful intent." Costa stepped forward and performed the greeting gesture they had been taught. "Prime Emissary, on behalf of all humanity, welcome. We are honored by your presence and eager to learn from each other." The first meeting lasted nearly 12 hours. The Vex were curious about everything: human biology, culture, history, technology. They seemed particularly interested in Earth's wars, asking detailed questions about strategy, weapons development, and psychological impact. At the time, Sarah thought they were simply trying to understand human psychology to better facilitate cooperation. Over the months that followed, the relationship flourished. The Vex shared medical knowledge that led to cures for various forms of cancer and degenerative diseases. They helped improve Earth's propulsion systems, enabling faster travel throughout the solar system. They invited human scientists to visit their ships and learn about technologies humans had only theorized about. Sarah sent regular messages home to her daughter on Mars. "The universe just got a whole lot bigger," she told Eliza during one call. "When I get back, I'll take you to see the Vex biomechanical gardens. They have plants that can solve complex equations. Actually solve them, Eliza." 18 months into the diplomatic mission, the Vex suggested establishing an exchange program. A permanent human embassy would be constructed on one of their core worlds, and they would maintain a presence on Mars, which they found fascinating due to humanity's terraforming efforts. Sarah thought it was a perfect arrangement. Mars was where Eliza lived. She might even get reassigned closer to home. 3 years passed. The exchange program thrived. Thousands of Vex now lived among humans throughout the solar system, and several 100 humans had traveled to Vex worlds as ambassadors, scientists, and cultural attachés. Earth's technology advanced rapidly with Vex assistance. Diseases were vanishing, clean energy was abundant. It seemed like the beginning of a golden age. Sarah had been promoted to admiral for her role in establishing first contact. She was in her office on Earth when the news came. "Admiral," her aide said, face pale as she rushed in without knocking. "Mars colony has gone dark." "Define dark," Sarah demanded, her heart beginning to pound. "All communications stopped 30 minutes ago. Long-range telescopes show." The aide hesitated. "They show explosions on the surface." Sarah rushed to the command center. The main screen showed chaos. Mars's surface, once dotted with the lights of human settlements and the green of terraformed zones, now flashed with fire, and surrounding the red planet were ships, Vex warships, unlike the diplomatic vessels they had shown humans before. "Get me the Vex ambassador now," Sarah shouted. But the Vex embassy had been evacuated an hour earlier. They had slipped away while preparing their attack. Reports began flooding in from throughout the solar system. Vex citizens had disappeared from every human settlement. Their diplomatic vessels had all left orbit simultaneously. Then came the message. It appeared on every screen across Earth and the colonies. The face of a Vex, not the friendly ambassadors they had come to know, but one bearing military markings etched into its metallic skin. "People of Earth," it began, "the assessment phase is complete. The Vex confluence has determined your species is unsuitable for partnership but valuable for resources. Your colonies are now under our control. Resistance will result in the destruction of your homeworld. We thank you for your cooperation during our evaluation period." The transmission ended. Sarah stared at the blank screen, her world collapsing around her. "Eliza," she whispered. Communications with Mars slowly came back online as surviving colonists restored emergency systems. The reports were devastating. 60,000 dead. Major habitat domes breached. The Vex Cultural Center had been a weapons platform all along. Among the confirmed dead was Eliza Hayes, age 14. 5 days later, as Earth prepared for war, a scientist discovered the truth. Hidden in the medical technology the Vex had shared was a subtle method to gather human biological data. The cultural exchange had been a cover to study humans for weaknesses. Worse, intelligence recovered from a damaged Vex communication device revealed that humanity was the 23rd species the Vex had approached this way. The others had all been conquered or harvested to extinction. In a secure underground facility beneath the Himalayas, Earth's leaders gathered. Sarah sat silently as generals and politicians argued about how to respond. Finally, she stood up. The room fell quiet. Her face, once diplomatic and hopeful, had hardened into something new. 3 years ago, I welcomed the Vex as friends, she said. I believed we had found our place in a larger community of worlds. She paused, her voice becoming steel. I was wrong. They studied us to exploit us. They pretended friendship while planning our destruction. They killed my daughter and thousands of others. She looked around the room, meeting every eye. But they made a mistake. They should have killed us all at once. Now we know what we're facing, and we will show them something they've never seen before, a species that punches back. The room was silent for a moment. Then someone began to applaud. Others joined in. The war had begun, and humanity would not go quietly. The human response 6 years had passed since the attack on Mars. The war with the Vex had not gone well for humanity. Earth's orbital defenses had been breached 3 times. Millions were dead. Venus had fallen entirely to the enemy. Jupiter's moons were contested battlegrounds. Humanity was using every resource it had to fight, but the Vex were simply too advanced. Their ships could move faster. Their weapons hit harder. Their shields withstood most human attacks. Admiral Sarah Hayes was no longer the hopeful diplomat. Her face had grown hard and lined, her once brown hair now streaked with silver. A jagged scar ran from her right temple to her jaw, a reminder of a Vex boarding party she had fought off personally 2 years earlier. She stood in the command center of Earth's last major military base, buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice shelf. The room was dimly lit, filled with the glow of screens showing the positions of the few remaining human fleets. "They've taken the Titan outpost," said General Omar Reyes, pointing to a flashing red marker on the main display. "That's the fourth outpost this month." Sarah nodded grimly. "How many ships did we lose?" 8, but they managed to evacuate most of the civilians first. It was a small victory, but Sarah would take any victory these days. She looked around the room at the tired faces of Earth's military leaders. They were fighting a losing war, and everyone knew it. "Admiral," said a young communications officer, "Dr. Patel is requesting your presence in Laboratory 12. Sarah exchanged a glance with Omar. Dr. Sanjay Patel was humanity's best hope, a brilliant scientist leading Project Prometheus in a facility beneath the Pacific Ocean. If anyone could find a way to defeat the Vex, it would be him. "Tell him I'll be there in 30 minutes, Sarah said. The journey to Laboratory 12 required taking a high-speed maglev train through tunnels built in the early days of the war. As Sarah sat alone in the car, watching the tunnel walls flash by, she thought about how much the world had changed. Before the Vex, these tunnels didn't exist. Now much of human civilization had moved underground, away from the Vex attacks from space. Dr. Patel met her at the lab entrance. He was in his 50s with silver-streaked black hair and eyes that rarely blinked when he was deep in thought. Right now, those eyes looked excited. "We found something, Admiral," he said without greeting, leading her into the lab. "Something the Vex don't know we know." The laboratory was massive, filled with equipment salvaged from research centers around the world. Scientists worked at various stations, many studying pieces of damaged Vex technology. "What did you find?" Sarah asked. Patel led her to a secure room in the back. Inside was a strange device that pulsed with a soft purple light. It looked like a mix of crystal and liquid metal, with no obvious controls. "This is an intact piece of a Vex neural relay," he explained. "Commander Wilson's team recovered it during the raid on Ceres." Sarah knew about Commander Maya Wilson. The woman led what remained of Earth's special forces on seemingly suicidal missions against Vex supply lines. Somehow, she kept coming back alive, usually with valuable intelligence. "We've been studying how the Vex communicate," Patel continued. "Their whole society is based on a type of neural network. Each Vex is an individual, but they're also connected to the collective through quantum entanglement." Sarah frowned. "In simple terms, Doctor, they're all linked together. It's how their ships coordinate so perfectly. But here's the thing. We've discovered a vulnerability in their network, a way to potentially disrupt their communications." For the first time in years, Sarah felt a spark of hope. "How?" "We're developing a virus, not a biological one, but a quantum algorithm that could infiltrate their network and cause chaos in their neural connections. Think of it as giving their entire species a massive migraine simultaneously." Before they could discuss further, an alarm sounded. Sarah's communicator beeped urgently. "Admiral, we have an incoming transmission from Commander Wilson," said the voice of her aide. "Her team is under heavy fire, but they've captured something you need to see immediately." Sarah rushed back to the command center. On the main screen was the face of Commander Wilson, a woman with copper-colored skin and eyes that had seen too much horror. Behind her, explosions illuminated what looked like the interior of a Vex vessel. "Admiral," Wilson shouted over the noise of battle. "We infiltrated a Vex processing ship, found out what they're doing with our captured people." The camera panned shakily to show rows of clear containers. Inside each was a human body connected to tubes and wires. Some were still moving. "They're not just killing our people," Wilson said grimly. "They're harvesting them, extracting genetic material and neural patterns. I'm sending you the data we recovered." Sarah felt sick as she watched. "Get your team out of there, Commander." "Working on it, sir. But you should know. They're planning something big. Final phase of their conquest. 3 weeks from now, they're bringing in their Nexus vessel." The transmission cut off as another explosion rocked Wilson's position. The command center was silent. Then General Reyes spoke. 3 weeks. That's all we have left." Sarah turned to face the room. "Then we have 3 weeks to get Dr. Patel's virus ready. and we need a delivery system, a way to get it into the heart of their fleet. Over the next 21 days, Earth made its final preparations. Dr. Patel and his team worked around the clock refining their virus. Commander Wilson, who had managed to escape the Vex processing ship with most of her team, helped plan the delivery mission. The plan was desperate. A small strike force of Earth's fastest ships modified with technology reverse-engineered from captured Vex vessels would make a run at the Vex Nexus vessel when it arrived. While the remaining Earth Defense Forces engaged the Vex in a frontal assault, essentially a suicide mission, Wilson's team would slip through the chaos and deliver the virus. On the day before the mission, Sarah visited the launch bay where the strike force was preparing. 9 ships, each with a crew of just 4 people. 36 men and women who might save humanity or die trying. Commander Wilson stood inspecting the lead vessel, a sleek black ship that had once been a deep space exploration vessel before the war. "Admiral on deck," someone called, and the busy work paused as people stood at attention. "As you were," Sarah said quietly. She approached Wilson. "How are the preparations?" "As good as they can be, sir," Wilson replied. "The ships are ready. The crews are ready." Sarah looked at the small fleet. "You know the odds." Wilson smiled slightly. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" "Always. The odds have been against us since day one of this war. Hasn't stopped us yet." Wilson's face grew serious. "The Vex think they know us. They've studied us for years, but they missed something important." "What's that?" "Humans are at their most dangerous when they have nothing left to lose." Wilson looked around at her crew, men and women checking weapons and systems. "Everyone here has lost someone to the Vex. Family, friends, homes. We're not just fighting for survival anymore." Sarah nodded slowly. "We're fighting for justice." "Exactly, sir." Wilson straightened. "This time tomorrow, the Vex will learn a lesson about humanity they never expected." Sarah looked at the determined faces around her. For the first time in 6 years, she allowed herself to believe that humanity might have a chance after all. The day of humanity's last stand arrived with no special marker or warning. The sky above Earth looked the same as any other day, blue, and clear in the areas not damaged by previous attacks. But in orbit and beyond, sensors detected the approach of the largest Vex fleet ever assembled, centered around the massive Nexus vessel. In the underground command center, Admiral Sarah Hayes watched the main screen as red dots appeared representing enemy ships. There were hundreds of them. "All defense platforms are ready," reported General Reyes. "Civilian shelters are sealed. Ground troops are in position in case they break through." Sarah nodded, her face grim. She touched the holographic pendant at her neck, Eliza's last school photo, then looked at the tired but determined faces around her. "Send the signal to Commander Wilson," she ordered. "Operation Prometheus is go. Far from Earth, hiding in the shadow of Saturn's rings, 9 small ships powered up their engines. Inside the lead vessel, Commander Maya Wilson received the message. "This is it, people," she announced to her crew. "Earth Defense Force is engaging the main Vex fleet now. While they're distracted, we slip in, deliver the package, and change the course of this war." Lieutenant Jamil Khan, Wilson's pilot, looked up from his controls. "Navigation is set, Commander. The virus is secure in all 9 ships." Dr. Patel sat strapped into a seat behind them. He wasn't military, but he had insisted on coming. The virus was his creation, and if anything went wrong, he needed to be there to fix it. "Remember," he said, "we need to get within 100 meters of the Nexus vessel's neural relay. The virus has to directly interface with their quantum network." Wilson nodded. "Lieutenant Khan will get us there. Teams 2 through 9 will run interference." She turned to the communications officer. "Tell the other ships to launch. Maintain radio silence from here on." The 9 ships moved out from their hiding place, accelerating toward the distant battle near Earth. They were small and fast, modified with stealth technology reverse-engineered from captured Vex vessels. If everything went according to plan, the enemy wouldn't detect them until it was too late. Back at Earth, the space around the planet had turned into chaos. The defense platforms fired constantly, filling the void with explosions. Earth's remaining warships engaged the front line of the Vex fleet, fighting with a desperation born from knowing there was nowhere left to retreat. Admiral Hayes coordinated the defense from the command center. Group 3, focus fire on Sector 7. Group 5, fall back and regroup. She watched as human ships exploded one after another. Each lost ship meant lost lives, but each second of fighting bought more time for Wilson's team to reach their target. In the middle of the Vex fleet, a massive vessel 3 times larger than any other hung back from the main battle. This was the Nexus vessel, the hub of their neural network. This was Wilson's target. As Wilson's small fleet approached the battle zone, they split up, each taking a different path to avoid detection. 8 ships would create diversions, while Wilson's vessel carried Dr. Patel and the primary virus payload directly to the Nexus vessel. Enemy ships at 3 o'clock, warned Khan. 3 Vex fighters had broken off from the main battle and were moving to intercept them. They've spotted us, Wilson said. Teams 3 and 7, run your Wilson made a quick decision. Bring us around that debris field. We'll lose them there. Khan skillfully guided their ship through the floating wreckage of a destroyed Vex cruiser. The pursuing fighter followed, firing energy beams that barely missed them. Suddenly a hit rocked their ship. Warning alarms blared throughout the cabin. Engine 2 is down, reported the engineering officer. Hull breach in Section 4, ceiling now. Wilson gripped her seat as Khan continued evasive maneuvers. Can we still make it to the target? Yes, sir, Khan replied, his face tight with concentration. But we've lost too much speed. They'll catch us before we get there. From behind them, Dr. Patel spoke up. What about the emergency thrusters, the ones we salvaged from the Vex scout ship? Wilson looked at her engineer. Untested, sir, the woman said. They could blow us apart, or they could give us the speed we need, Wilson decided. Do it. The engineer nodded and began the sequence to activate the alien technology grafted onto their human ship. The entire vessel shuddered as the thrusters engaged, pushing them forward with sudden, violent acceleration. It's working, Khan shouted over the strain of the engines. We're outrunning them. The Nexus vessel loomed ahead, a massive structure that seemed to bend space around it. Wilson could see the neural relay, a crystalline spire extending from the ship's central section. Get us within 100 meters of that spire, she ordered. Khan pushed the ship to its limits, dodging defensive fire from the Nexus vessel. Behind them, more Vex fighters had joined the pursuit. 50 seconds to optimal virus deployment range, reported Dr. Patel, his fingers flying over the virus delivery system. We've got company, warned the tactical officer. Lots of company. Wilson looked at the sensor display. Dozens of Vex fighters were converging on their position. They had been detected. Teams 2 through 9, she called over the fleet channel, breaking radio silence. We need everything you've got. Buy us 45 seconds. Across the battlefield, the remaining human ships changed course, charging directly at the Vex fighters pursuing Wilson. It was a suicide move, but they didn't hesitate. 30 seconds, Patel counted down. Their ship rocked from multiple impacts. Systems began to fail. Life support compromised, reported the engineer. Hull integrity at 40%. 20 seconds. Wilson watched as the spire grew larger in the view screen. They were going to make it. 10 seconds. A massive explosion rocked the ship. The view screen cracked. We're hit bad, Khan said, fighting to keep control. 5, 4. Virus ready, Patel announced. Deploy now, Wilson ordered. Patel pressed the final sequence. From their damaged ship, a pulse of energy shot out, striking the neural relay spire. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the spire began to glow, pulsing with strange light. Did it work? Wilson asked. Patel checked his instruments. The virus is uploading. We need to maintain position for 15 more seconds to ensure complete integration. Those 15 seconds were the longest of Wilson's life. The ship shuddered. Around them, systems failing one by one. Then Patel looked up, a smile breaking across his face. Upload complete. The virus is in their system. Throughout the battle, the Vex ships suddenly slowed. Some began to drift aimlessly. Others fired at empty space or even at their own vessels. "It's working," Wilson breathed. "The virus is disrupting their neural network." Back on Earth, Admiral Hayes watched in amazement as the Vex fleet fell into disarray. Ships collided with each other. Energy weapons fired randomly. The coordinated assault that had been pushing toward Earth faltered and broke apart. "All units," she ordered. "Press the advantage, focus fire on disabled vessels." Earth's remaining forces surged forward, targeting the confused and uncoordinated Vex ships. For the first time in the war, the humans were winning. In Wilson's ship, systems continued to fail. "We need to get out of here," Khan said. "Engine 1 is our only option, and it's not looking good." Wilson nodded. "Get us back to the fleet. Dr. Patel, what's the status of the virus?" "It's spreading through their entire network. The effect should be permanent. Well, as permanent as we need it to be. They won't be able to coordinate large-scale operations for years, maybe decades." As they limped away from the Nexus vessel, Wilson opened a channel to Earth. "Admiral Hayes, this is Commander Wilson. Mission accomplished. The virus is deployed and functioning as expected." In the command center, cheers erupted. Sarah closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself a moment of relief. "Well done, Commander. Get your team home." 3 days later, with the Vex fleet scattered and retreating, Admiral Sarah Hayes stood before the remnants of the Vex command structure. The Nexus vessel had been captured intact, its confused crew unable to resist the human boarding parties. The prime coordinator of the Vex confluence, the highest authority in their hierarchy, stood before her, its metallic skin dulled with the effects of the virus. "You have disabled our neural network," it stated, its voice no longer melodic but flat and mechanical. "This has never been done before." "There's a lot about humans you failed to understand," Sarah replied. "We needed you to hear our message. Not just you, but every spacefaring civilization watching this conflict." She stepped closer to the Vex leader. "Humanity offers this warning to the galaxy. We are not easy prey. Attack us, and we will find your weakness, destroy what we love, and we will never stop fighting. You started this war. Now face the consequences." The prime coordinator tilted its head. "What are your terms?" "Unconditional withdrawal from our solar system. Return of all human prisoners. Reparations in the form of technology transfers under our supervision, and a formal declaration to all other species that Earth and its colonies are under your protection in perpetuity." "And if we refuse?" Sarah smiled coldly. "The virus currently affecting your neural network is just version 1. Dr. Patel has already developed version 2, designed not to disrupt but to destroy. Your entire species would be reduced to mindless drones, unable to function at even the most basic level." She let that sink in. "So, what will it be? Peace on our terms, or extinction on yours?" The prime coordinator considered for a long moment, then lowered its head in the first show of submission ever recorded from a Vex. "We accept your terms." 1 year later, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Earth Defense Headquarters in orbit around the planet. The stars looked different now. Not just distant lights, but potential homes, potential threats, potential allies. A small delegation approached, led by representatives of the Callan Confederacy, a species that had been watching the human Vex war with great interest. "Admiral Hayes," the lead delegate said, its translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, "we have traveled far to meet the species that defeated the Vex confluence." "Welcome to Earth space," Sarah replied. "I hope your journey was pleasant." "Indeed. We bring greetings and an invitation. The Galactic Council has approved Earth's petition for membership. You will be the first species ever admitted after defeating a council race in armed conflict." Sarah raised an eyebrow. The Vex were council members? For 12,000 years, they have used the same tactics on many worlds, until now, always successfully. The delegate's skin pulsed with colors that the translator indicated meant respect and caution. "Humanity has earned its place among the stars, Admiral Hayes. But I must ask, The weapon you used against the Vex neural network. Have you destroyed it? Sarah smiled slightly. That would be irresponsible, don't you think? We're new to this neighborhood. Best to keep our security systems active. The delegate's colors shifted again, understanding, perhaps a touch of fear. Then let us proceed to the treaty signing. The galaxy is eager to welcome humanity and learn from you. As they walked toward the conference room, Sarah looked out at the stars once more. Humanity had paid a terrible price for its place in the cosmos. Millions dead, colonies destroyed. But they had survived. They had fought back. And now the galaxy knew. Humanity wasn't just another species to be conquered. They were a force to be reckoned with.